the 4-3-2 rule or the content mix. So the 4-3-2 rule is the basic principle that with every 9 square grid on your profile, you want to have a healthy balance of sell shots, engagement shots, and culture shots.
Today, I am very excited to be joined by Hazan. If you don't know who Eden is, he is a content strategist who specializes in short form video. He's also the co-founder of Social Drop, an agency that helps quick service restaurants with their social marketing. He also runs The Real Coach to help creators and business owners level up their content strategy. Eden, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I am doing phenomenal. I'm so excited about this chat because I'll tell you, when I first started in the world of social media marketing, I scrolled upon a couple articles from you and your team. So when I saw this email pop up, I was like, wow, I get to talk to the guy that's been here from day one.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Today, Ed and I are going to explore short form video strategy that will help anyone who's listening connect, engage, and sell across Instagram and beyond. So before we go there, I'd love to hear a little bit of your backstory. We heard a little bit of it, but how'd you get into short form video, Instagram, all the stuff? Where do you start? Wherever you want to start.
No, I love it. Okay, good question. And I'm going to throw a little curveball here because you won't expect this, but it all started with pizza. My family business, which was my first business out of university. I was kind of taking the lead on the sales and marketing role for the, frozen pizza business. And along the way, obviously, I stumbled upon the world of Instagram and social media marketing and everything that comes with that. And I very quickly had to teach myself, how to navigate in that world, how to make the content myself, how to edit it, how to create strategies surrounding this stuff so that I can communicate with the right target audience. Long story short, after a couple, I would say, maybe a year or two of doing it for myself, friends and family members noticed that I was gaining traction. So they reached out to me. Hey, Eden, do you mind, would you do this for my company? A guy, my buddy Nat owns a gym. I helped him out with his brand. My other buddy in the music business helped him out with that stuff as well. Before I knew it, kind of had a side business to the main family business. I was selling, pizzas and growing that business as much as possible. But I was very intrigued and curious about the world of social media marketing and content and everything that exists within that spectrum. So that led me to have an interesting conversation with my siblings. I told them, hey guys, listen, I'm busy. I need some help. My sister during that time was a graphic designer and was helping me with anything and everything to do with design for my family business and these, call it, freelance clients at the time. And my younger brother has always been one that just, I like to joke that I found a way to clone myself, and that is my younger brother. So anytime I need help with anything, hey, Don, I need A, B, C, D, E, F, G. He helps me with that, takes it to the next level. So at one point, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw one of these like marketing bro guys with a big ad. If you want to start your own consulting business, join my seminar. I'll teach you A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Boom, sold. Let's do it. I went, listened to the seminar. I didn't buy the seminar in full transparency, but just the introductory call of the 2-hour pitch that he gave me, I got enough notes to call a family meeting in the kitchen. I called both my siblings. I said, listen, we're starting a social media marketing agency.
What year was that, by the way? When was that?
That was in 2016, summer of 2016. We figured out what we needed to do at that point. We honestly started the business with $250 each. I don't think you can do that anymore these days for starting any businesses. But obviously, everything virtual, not much overhead. The hardest part for us, which was also the most fun part, was to build the brand, to figure out the name and the branding, and just to really build the personality of the brand for ourselves for Social Drop. And, fast forward 7 years later, that's what we do today for a number of businesses across the board. That's how I got into kind of social media marketing, how we landed at, which is pretty much the full-time job that I do on the day-to-day right now, which is being the founder and quarterbacking Social Drop. We're a team of 11 today. like you said, we work with a number of QSR brands to help them level up their content, level up their branding. And it's been fun. We've learned a lot over the years. I would say we've all leveled up our game, everybody on our team, including myself and my siblings. But we had a bit of a curveball during COVID when I saw everybody starting to film these videos on TikTok, dancing, jumping things with their family. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, I don't know this. I can't do this. I built the content strategy for our clients with a simple mindset. Let's get a photographer, give me 3 hours at your restaurant. We'll shoot 36 videos, 12 posts a month. We're good for the next 3 months. Then TikTok came and video came. And at that point, the only time we ever really did video was, hey, let's hire this videographer. He'll make a fun promo video, a horizontal 2-minute promo video that cost me $1,500 before I even upsell it. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, how am I going to start to create video-based content for our clients? And how are we going to do it in a way where, 30, 40, 50% of the content strategy is video-based? So at that point, I had to accept the challenge very quickly to figure out short-form video content. I started with just posting TikToks on an account called Pizza Boy. Random stuff, honestly, embarrassing, but if you want to check him out, maybe it'll inspire you as to how bad I was back then and in the progress that I've made in the last 2 years. But there's a bit of a lesson there. Just by posting a TikTok every single day, there was a natural progression. And I got to the point where, fast forward to 2022, between that challenge of trying to figure out short form video content, and also at the same time, I was doing a lot of coaching through the agency, teaching, brands and entrepreneurs and creators how they can level up their game on social media to grow and level up their content. But there was a common denominator there as well. Everybody started calling me out. Eden, you have all the answers, tips, tricks, but why aren't you an influencer or creator? Why aren't you famous? So at that point, I accepted that challenge as well. And I said, you know what? They're not wrong. Let's give this a shot. So in 2022, I accepted the challenge of becoming what at the time was a big goal of mine, an influencer or a creator. But the more specific goal was I wanted to pull off 10,000 followers in 6 months to get the street credibility for being one of these, Instagram coaches. And there were a lot of people at the time that really inspired me to give that a shot because I've seen all of their success across the board. So accepted the challenge, started to film my content, showing up every single day with creating and filming and editing and exploring and watching and joining conversations and networking. And before I knew it, within the first 6 months, I got to 130,000 followers. Within a year and a half, over 440,000 followers. And honestly, I learned more within those first 6 months than I had previously learned in the 6 years leading up to that in running an agency. And another lesson there, it's when you're in the trenches, when you're doing the work, just like with everything else in life, that's where you end up, making the biggest realizations and actually learning what are the best practices that work. So in a very, very, very big nutshell, that leads me to today. And today, sitting at a very big following that I'm very grateful for, I get the opportunity to pull out my phone and speak to people. And I love teaching. I've always been very passionate about that with my employees and just helping creators and other people along the way. But now the fact that I get the opportunity to speak to that many people, that to me is huge. I think my skill set with video has gotten to a level where I'm comfortable with it, but I'm always very conscious of the fact that I need to always be challenging myself and pushing that further because social media is always changing. With that, I need to be adaptable, right? I need to keep challenging myself and leveling up my skill set. So that's the story of how we got here today. Yeah.
Excellent. So To those that are, intrigued with what we're going to talk about today, which is really Instagram Reels and short form video strategy. Let's start with a why.
Yes.
Why today, when we're recording this in late 2024, is short form video so critical for businesses?
Phenomenal question. Okay. In order to understand that, you also need to understand how the algorithm actually works. Okay. There's a lot of different, first of all, there's a lot of different algorithms, but there's a lot of different data that the algorithm will pay attention to when making the decision of, hey, are people interested here? Should we recommend this person's page and content? The number one statistic and analytic that they look at is consumption rates. They will take a look at when people are scrolling through your page and looking at your content, what is the consumption percentages for any given piece of content, right? In English, that means, how much of a video are people watching? Are they watching it until the end? Are they falling off within the first couple seconds? And if they're watching it until the end, are they watching it multiple times? Is there repeat consumption? So knowing and understanding that allows you to kind of get the idea of where I'm going with this. Video is the best way to hook people in and craft a creative marketing message in order to maximize the opportunity of getting your audience to actually consume your content till the end. You can get a lot more creative with video than you can with photo. Think about this. Video, you can do, fun stuff with the visual content. You can add trending music, which is a big part of it. You can add sound effects. The way that I'm even, for those that are watching, the way that I'm communicating with you, I'm using eye contact, body language. So video is just, content has always been king, but video content now is king.
Excellent. So before we get into your strategy, because you're spending so much time creating content and also coaching creators, what are you seeing as a couple of the kind of popular things that are happening right now when it comes to short form video?
So first of all, let's just speak everybody's language for a second. Everybody knows that trends is a very easy one. Doesn't matter what niche or industry you're in. There are specific noteworthy trends, both macro trends, things that exist for, more of a long term, and micro trends, things that are happening at a much quicker pace that you can jump on. These trends are opportunities for you to achieve higher levels of engagement just by piggybacking off of somebody else's idea. So in a nutshell, a trend right away, very, very good tactic to just be conscious of within your space. And when you can, and when it's on point for your brand, you should jump on these things because the results are gonna be great. Another thing, and this is something that I started to see towards the end of 2023, and it's just, you're seeing much more of it as 2024 progresses, and that is storytelling based content. You will see right now on Instagram and a lot more actually on TikTok, brands are more and more so beginning to stop selling their product or service and doing so in a way that's a lot more witty and creative just by storytelling about the business, or founder content is a big one, right? Typically when it comes to storytelling, it's either, a face or a place. And it's a really good opportunity for you to connect with your audience on a deeper level and earn their respect so that when they do see your product at a later date, that light bulb goes off. They think, oh, wow, you know what? I actually saw this company. They have great content. I'm going to buy this over the other 6 brands that you're seeing on Amazon. So storytelling is extremely, extremely important because it helps you really, build that relationship with your audience. And then the last thing, and it's something that is extremely noteworthy for short form video content. And a lot of people talk about this, but I don't think that people really understand the importance of it today. Instagram users and TikTok, people's attention spans across the board are at an all-time low. So with that, you have to do something. Doesn't matter how good your content is or your story, or if you're jumping on the world's best trend, if you are not giving your audience a reason to just take a quick second to lift their thumb up and pay attention to your content over the other hundreds of pieces of content that they're being attacked by on a day-to-day basis, then it doesn't matter how much dollars or what you're pouring into your content. That reason, in technical terms, from a content strategy perspective, is the hook, right? So I'll give a quick example of what I mean by that. A hook. Think about your favorite creator that likes to give tutorials on how to make specific dishes. Okay. I'm going to teach you how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. I am not going to start the first scene off with an empty plate and then show you the bread and then butter the bread. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll to the best part of my video. I'm going to find that usually at the end, the cheese pull. I'm going to take that piece, I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to bring it right to the front of my video. Now what happens? You're scrolling through your feed. All of a sudden you see this insane cheese pull. It gets your attention. You stop scrolling, you lift up your thumb. And then before you know it, you're watching the whole process because it's human nature to see how one achieved that cheese pull. So I often, when I teach about hooks, I tell people, you got to find your cheese pull, right? My cheese pull over the years and getting from 0 to 440K is transitions. Transitions, the reason why they're so effective is because they work well with human behavior and human nature, and the need that when you see something happen that quick, specifically a transition of, teleporting from one place to another, you got to see it again. You got to scratch that itch. So
give us a verbal example, like talk out so people can visualize what you're talking about if they've never seen your transitions.
Yeah. So a transition, in short, there's a lot of variations of what you can do with the transition, but the goal of a transition is within a split second or a blink of an eye to show some sort of transformation, whether you're getting to a new location or whether you're wearing a new outfit. You want to do something again, like I said, within a split second that the viewer will look at and say, wait.
Yeah, who does this really well is Zach King. Do you know who Zach King is?
Oh, he is a legend and an idol. And if by chance he hears this, I would love to shoot a reel with you one day.
Yeah. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But with that said, that sometimes could be, really stressful for people to look at and think like, oh my God, like I can't do that. That's insane.
Right.
So you'll see the difference between me and Zach King is like everything that I do, I shoot on my phone. Yeah. And everything that I do, I try to teach it in a way that anybody with a phone, the 99% of creators and small business owners, can easily replicate this stuff because there isn't a high production situation and it's actually much easier to pull off than you think. But anyways,
cool. Listen, before we get too far down the transition hole, because it's so fascinating, let's get to our main dish, if you will, today. Right? Let's get to our cheese pull today. Is actually to get into the content strategy. Okay, so let's start with talking about the first part of your content strategy, and if we have time, we can come back and talk about transitions and cheese pulls a little bit later. So where do we start?
For more on transitions, just check out my Instagram and you'll see a ton of it and you'll be able to digest that instantly. All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to start this actually with the number one mistake that people are making because it leads perfectly into the lesson that we're trying to get across. So the number one mistake that I see people making is a lack of strategy. They don't have their finger on the pulse within their industry of what's being spoken about, what's being posted, what are the conversations. And they're just showing up every day to post blindly. Mm-hmm. With that said, there are a ton of benefits associated with anything in life of being more strategic and having that strategy. So when it comes to content strategy, there are a lot of coaches that have, probably similar ways that they think of this stuff and similar names. And you've probably heard a lot of variations of this before. But like I just said previously, I try to break this down in a way that the 99% will be able to consume it. So here's my take on content strategy. There are a lot of different types of things that you can be posting on your page, whether it is a transition or a tutorial video for a recipe or storytelling or whatever it may be. But every one of these pieces of content can and will fall into one of three buckets. Those three buckets being a sell shot, an engagement shot, and a culture shot. Let's unpack that. Okay. A sell shot is exactly what it sounds like. It is a piece of content that is going to give you the ability to sell your product or service. It typically has a very strong call to action. And when you have a hard sell shot, you don't want to hold back. You want to be crystal clear about the fact that, hey, this is the mug that we make. It is the best mug ever. Buy one, get one free. There's your sell shot. Number two.
Wait. Let's dig into each one at a time if you're okay with that.
Oh, of course. No problem.
Yeah. So we'll come back to the other two shots. So let's talk about why the sell shot works, and let's give a couple of examples of some sell shots.
So I like that. Let's talk about what is the goal of a sell shot, right? The goal of a sell shot is to stimulate your business, get more customers, get more clicks to the website. At the end of the day, people need to reach out to you to give you some dollars in exchange for whatever service or product that you're offering. So when you want to curate a sell shot, it's extremely important to be crystal clear about that offering, the value within it, and honestly, just give people a reason to better understand, why should they pay attention to whatever it is that you're selling. Okay. That's a sell shot.
Real quick. Any tips on how to create a sell shot?
Yes. So look, sell shots historically have been as follows. You take this mug, you put it in a studio with a blue background, a red background. That is a sell shot. Here, black background. This is a sell shot from, let's call it 2007. Okay. A sell shot today will have a lot more trigger points. For example, you, instead of shooting with a background at a studio, you take this mug to a bench at a park, and you get a good looking model, and she's wearing, on brand clothing, and she has really cool pair of Nike shoes, and the weather is beautiful, or maybe she's on a beach. What I'm trying to communicate there is that there's multiple trigger points that are appealing to different customer segments. So I might stop scrolling because I noticed the shoes and I'm like, wow, those are sick. Oh, they're selling a coffee mug. Interesting. Click the website. Somebody else might stop scrolling because they thought that the model was good looking. So, okay, take a second, take a look, and boom, to the website. Somebody else who likes traveling a lot might have noticed the scenery. So again, the goal of really nailing your sell shot in 2024 is to actually almost blind them from seeing that it's a hard sell shot and turning it into a soft sell shot. Okay.
Love it. So what I'm hearing you say is that you're putting the model, if you will, into a setting that other people can relate to, right?
Yes.
And you're choosing someone who fits the demographic of the target audience that you're trying to attract, because they say, oh, that person's like me, but they seem to be enjoying their coffee or enjoying the setting. And is it almost like there's no speaking? Is it all just words on the screen typically?
It depends. Look, a sell shot could also be you just explaining the founder storytelling content, like we spoke about before, the founder explaining why we make the best cups. Another one could be a transition one, right? So if I take this and I put it on the table, and when it hits the table, boom, it turns into the blue version of this mug. You just created a transition in the hook that got their attention, and now they're paying more attention to what you're actually selling.
Love it.
So eventually, once we get to the end of this, you want to make every post almost a hybrid of sell, engage, and culture. But before we get there, let's quickly talk a little bit about engage and culture, because it'll all tie in at the end.
Cool.
That's a sell shot. I think every single business owner knows what we mean when we say a sell shot. Now, here's the next one. And this one is one that every creator will fully understand because they typically overdo it, and we'll get to that as well. An engagement shot is very different than the sell shot in the sense that the goal there is to yield stimulated levels of engagement. The goal is not to sell. Okay. All I want here, more shares, more saves, more comments. Mm-hmm. So with that said, you want to educate. You want to entertain, right? You want to give more value about this coffee mug than just saying that there's a special or that you're getting free shipping or that it comes in blue and in red. So an engagement shot like I said over there, which is
But let's talk about why that's so important, just for people that might not understand this,
sure.
because they might think that doesn't seem to support their objectives, right? From a marketing perspective.
Look, with your content strategy, you need to have a healthy balance of bringing in dollars, but also bringing in traffic to your page so that you can, retarget these people and convert them into dollars. If all you're doing is just trying to bring in dollars, you're never going to bring new audiences, new traffic into your page for retargeting purposes. So that's why it's extremely important to have content with different goals that brings in traffic. And then once they're in, boom, now let's sell them, right? Let's retarget them. Let's tell them what we do. So you need to be very strategic about understanding all of these ideas, which bucket it falls into.
So let's give an example of an engagement shot.
Yes.
It could be something that you've done, for example, or it could be something that one of your students has done or clients.
Sure. Let's keep it going. I think with
just come close to the mic, just so that your audio. Sure,
no problem. Yeah, let's keep it going with the mug, right? Okay. So people like to do hacks and tricks, and typically that's something that's entertaining or educational. If you want to think of what an engagement shot, or what I sometimes like to call a hyper engagement shot, which means something that is like undeniable, entertaining or educational. First of all, scroll back to what we spoke about 20 minutes ago. Look at trends. Because when you look at a trend, there's a way to take that trend and make it work with your product or service. But number two, you want to think about it from a lens of, hey, if I were my audience, what would I need to do in order to get them to share this in a group chat or save this for later, right? Forget the mug for a second. Let's think of a fitness creator or somebody that owns a gym, okay? Obviously, you're selling personal training and stretching and whatever services. Maybe you're also selling supplements. But a good example of an engagement shot would be you taking a second on a Tuesday to create a video teaching them the proper form to doing a lunge, or teaching them the proper form to stretch after a workout. What's going to happen there? Your audience is going to watch that and think, oh, wow, this is a great ab workout or a great tutorial. I'm going to save this. I'm going to refer back to it next week when I'm at the gym, or I'm going to send it in the group chat with the boys because we were talking about this the other week as well. So when you get people to take that action of saving or sharing, at the end of the day, that's how you double check if what you're talking about here is an engagement shot. Because if it's one that's going to get them to DM you and ask a question or click to the website, that action is more of a sell shot.
I see. Love it. Perfect. So let's talk about your next.
The last one. And this is one that most people completely neglect. I think it's the most important one. And it's in line with everything that we spoke about in 2024. A culture shot. A culture shot, company culture shot, or culture shot, it's your opportunity to connect with your audience. It's your opportunity to tell a story. It's your opportunity to really earn respect from your audience so that when you do show up to sell them, they remember your story. They respect you enough to want to support, make a purchase, or at the very least, tag somebody, share it in a group, support in any way that they can. So we're going to bring this back. The example here of the coffee mug, okay? Sell shot, we know this. Transition video, blue, red, green mug. Wow, that was so cool. What just happened there? I just watched the whole video. A engagement shot might be a tutorial about how you can use this to, hold all of your pens, and it makes for a great utensil, little office hack. But here's the culture shot, and this is extremely important. I show up on a Monday and I say, hi, everybody. Today, I want to mix it up a little bit. I want to tell you how my family got into the coffee mug business. My grandfather was one of the first people in Canada to bring coffee mugs here from Europe. We've been doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They're handmade. See what's happening there? You're starting to think, oh, wow. I didn't know that about Eden. His family's been doing mugs for 100 years. That's insane. So think about what happens when they see my mug on Amazon and they see the brand name and they're like, okay, these guys, I'm getting this mug. I've seen them talk about it. I know their story. I love what they're doing on social. And that's the difference between the three different components.
Okay, so just to be clear on the culture shot,
Yes.
what it really means is company culture, right? Or values of the founder or something along those lines, right?
Yeah. Look, for a business, definitely company culture. That's the founder spotlights that I was talking about. That is being a little bit more transparent about behind the scenes content of, hey, we just got this new merch, or hey, we just moved into this new factory. So anything, it's got to be a face or a place. For creators, maybe not small business owners, this just means open up, tell your story. Look how we started this because Michael, you're a smart man and you're very conscious of, what is important in 2024. We started with my story. We started with a culture shot to hook people in, get their attention, and earn their respect so that when I do push forward with my content strategy and sell them on the idea that, hey, I know what I'm talking about, they understand why.
Love it. Okay. So just in summary, we've talked about 3 different kinds of shots. The sell shot, which everybody probably instinctively understands, but they now have some new tips from you on how to do it better. The engagement shot, which is really all about getting people to share or to save. And then the culture shot, which is really designed to kind of make a emotional connection really to the company. Correct. And to the founder, right? So now let's talk about like piecing it all together, right? Yes. Because this is yes. where you and I knew that we were going to get here. So this is the fascinating part of let's take it to the next level now. We've got all this. Perfect. We've mapped out some of these ideas. Now what do we do?
Yes. Okay. So that actually brings me to the number 2 mistake that I see people making these days. And it's different for a business versus a creator. So this mistake is as follows. Businesses, typically, they are overselling on Instagram. They're showing up every day talking about their coffee mugs or their chairs or their service. And quite frankly, it gets exhausting and it pushes people away. I like to say this, that, and it's the truth, and I've been saying it for 7 years, but I don't think it's mind-blowing anymore these days because everybody's in line with it. Instagram is not a sales platform. It's a place to build your brand. And if you do it in the right way, you will attract the right consumers. And then naturally, you'll be able to sell them on your product or service. So that mistake, again, to reiterate, for business owners, they are overdoing the sell shot. For creators, they're actually so scared to sell that all they do is jump on trends and they overdo the engagement shot. Okay. So you can see how at the end of the day, overdoing any one of these buckets just shoots yourself in the foot because you're not making use of all of the tools that you have for your content strategy. Take that to the next level. Okay. The reason why you have these content buckets is because you need to better understand how to group your different ideas into different tactics. As a marketer, you need to be strategic. You need to know what tools and weapons you have to your disposal in order to, go to war and have a good result at the end of the day. So when you know and are crystal clear about the difference between a sell shot, an engagement shot, and a culture shot, you can then use that strategically to curate, maintain, and nurture the right relationship with your audience. Okay. Think about company X. All they do is show up every day, sell shot, sell shot, sell shot, sell shot. You as their customer, you get to the point where you're like, dude, Eden, I don't want your mug. It's all good. Unfollow. I'm done. Alternatively, a creator that's a coach, for example, all they're doing is jumping on trends, dancing, transitions, but I have no idea what you're selling. So how do you expect me to buy it? Right? So relationship 101, for the last 100 years, more than that, it's always been a two-way street. You got to give and take, right? It can't just be a one-way street. Otherwise, whether it's a girlfriend, a partnership, a friendship, it's going to deteriorate. But in an effort to really maximize your ability to craft the right relationship with your customers and your followers and your fans, you need to immerse them in content that feels like they are being entertained and educated. You're telling your story and they're there to support you when you show up to sell. So there's an idea and a theory that we teach across the board internally for our agency, but also for a lot of people that I coach, called the 4-3-2 rule or the content mix. So the 4-3-2 rule is the basic principle that with every 9 square grid on your profile, you want to have a healthy balance of sell shots, engagement shots, and culture shots. For example, four shots should be engagement shots, 3 shots should be culture shots, and 2 shots should be sell shots. But when you're very clear about which of your content ideas that you've already created falls into each category, you can now strategically pre-plan your feed in order to curate that relationship. Okay? Now, the next level to that is as follows. You don't just want to blindly say, hey, I'm going to throw up a sell shot, engagement shot, culture shot, just because there's even spacing between them. It's extremely important if you're building a relationship, you also want to pay attention to human behavior. Okay? And I know this sounds crazy, but you need to pay attention to factors within the world, things like the weather, things like the news. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by this. So we know what each one of these shots represent and what they mean. Weekend's over. It's Monday. I'm back to work. I'm still reminiscing about the weekend. I don't really want to be back at work. I would love a scrolling break. So scrolling through Instagram, all of a sudden I see a culture shot from Eden. I get the opportunity now to lean back, take a little scrolling break, pay attention to somebody else's story because I'm not so happy with mine right now sitting at my desk. For me, storytelling, culture shots, it's a perfect time to do that on Monday and Tuesday. Then comes middle of the week, Wednesday, Thursday. Weekend's already behind us. We're not thinking about that. Next weekend, unless you have big plans, it's too far away. I'm not really concentrated on that. It's the middle of the week. I'm ready to listen. I'm potentially actually ready to spend some money. So on a Wednesday, they just heard on Monday the story about my family business with the coffee mugs. It's Wednesday. I just hit them with a buy one, get one free. They remembered my story. Now they're happy to make a purchase. Fast forward to the weekend. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Weather's beautiful. I had a buy one, get one free promo ready to launch on the weekend. No one cares. No one's buying it. Everyone's outside. It's the middle of the summer. They're at cottages. They're having brunches. So for me, I like to strategically position my engagement shots for the weekend as an opportunity to just show people cheese pulls. Let them salivate. Oh my God, that pizza. Gonna send it to my girlfriend. Boom, done. Engagement shot. Did exactly what the goal was that I intended for it. So you really need to strategically line up these different tactics with human behavior, with factors like the weather. If all of a sudden there's a big announcement on the news, you do not want to launch that promo that you've been planning. Wait till potentially on Wednesday. It might be raining. Everyone's going to be indoors on their phones. It sounds crazy, but we are all a lot more similar than we think. And when you pay attention to these little, human behavior traits, you can be a lot more effective with the content that you're putting out there, and you can get much more effective results.
This is really fascinating. So what I'm hearing you say, I think what I'm hearing you say is, hey, in every 9 pieces of content, you should, 4, 3, and 2 is 9 for those who are math challenged, which some of us are. The majority should be engagement, right? 4 is engagement, 3 is culture, 2 are sell shots. And you should pay attention to your industry and your niche, right? So obviously, if you're targeting people who work on the weekends, and then they have the middle of the week off because maybe they're, working in restaurants or something like that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday might not be the time to target them. It might be quite the opposite. It depends on who your audience is, right? But one of the questions I have, and some of the people that are listening might have, is, isn't it true that a reel can have a life a lot longer than just a week?
Oh.
And isn't it true that after the first week, these things are going to kind of just be seen by people regardless of when you publish them?
Great question. And before I answer that, I just want to add one more thing to what you just mentioned there about the 4-3-2.
Yeah.
That is not locked in. If your goal for the month, it's holiday season, you have to go hard on selling, you have a campaign and a promo,
right.
Switch that up. You can go 4 sell shots.
I
through
see.
engagement
Okay.
to culture. But then if you know that in December the goal was to sell and you went hard on selling, keep the relationship in mind. January, slow it down. Go hard on engagement. Don't sell till February. Give them culture, give them engagement. And again, always just be conscious of these moving factors in order to curate, to nurture the relationship. Now, back to the point that you just brought up, you could not be more right. Some of my most viral posts have only woken up, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks after I posted them. But another extremely important analytic that these algorithms take into account is the initial engagement with your post within the first 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. So if you know that, keeping that in mind, you still, even though everything after, a day, a week, or 2 weeks could be a bonus, you want to do everything in your power as a marketing strategist to maximize the engagement when you hit that post button within the first couple hours.
Awesome. Are you also suggesting that we typically publish these 9 shots within a week or within a month or whatever cadence works for the business? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Depends at what point of the business journey you're at. Okay. If it's a startup business, look, I just launched a brand. You can see a lot of the examples that we've spoken about here in terms of content strategy on this brand page. It's called Dream Crust Pizza on Instagram. It's, I'm not going to sell it. You guys can go check it out and see what I'm talking about, but pay attention to the content. Over the last 2 months, I've been in a testing mindset because I want to better understand, even as the real coach, I don't have all the answers, but that's something that's an extremely important lesson here. Even if you think you have all the answers, things are always changing. So you always need to be in that testing mindset. This is the world's first, keto frozen pizza. Now, I know a lot about content, but what I discovered over the last 2 months is that my engagement shots, they happen to be educational and entertaining. My top performing content for both organic and for paid ads is ASMR, just because, as pizza lovers, like they love seeing the pizza getting sliced and the sound effects and taking the bite, but it's also reactions, right? So
facial reactions? You mean facial reactions? What do you mean by
facial reactions? There's sound effect. People make crazy sounds when it comes to trying pizza.
Okay.
So what I would say is I would challenge you to really always be on the testing mindset. Maybe not always, but at least once a quarter, go back, take a look. What did we do? What performed well? Not just an internal analysis, but an external analysis. Look at your competitors. Look at indirect competitors. What's happening in the space? You need to always keep a finger on the pulse and react accordingly.
What about the frequency side of things, though?
Yes. So frequency, again, the reason why I brought up Dream Crust Pizza was because as a brand that just launched, we're trying to show up 4, 5, 6 times a week. Eventually, as a business, you can only really show up so much without pushing your audience away, even if you have a good content mix. I would say if the majority of your content is engagement shots, you don't even need to put a number on it. Make sure that it's sustainable for you and you don't just, finish all of your content within a given month. But I always like to pre-plan for the next 2 to 3 weeks, not so much more than that, because things will change and pre-planning too deep ends up being a waste. So frequency, again, be on the testing mindset. Take a look week by week. Okay, I posted 3 times last week. I posted 5 times this week. What happened to my engagement? What happened to my sales? You just need to always have that third eye, paying attention to what are the results in correlation to the inputs that you're throwing into the system.
Ed, this has been absolutely fascinating. If people want to connect with you on the socials, where do you want to send them? Which platform? And then if they want to learn more about your business and the things you've got coming up, where do you want to send them? Yeah,
you guys can check me out at on Instagram at The Real Coach, spelt with 2 E's, REEL. Over there is just, I got to tell you, there is so much to learn just by spending the time scrolling through my stuff. I bury so many hidden tips and tricks within the captions and within the tutorials that I post. Not only that, I answer everybody. when before I was an influencer, I always had the thought of, why aren't these people answering me? When I pop off as an influencer, I'm going to still answer everyone. I don't have anybody touching my DMs. I handle all of it myself. And I will always, always, always be more than happy to support. You might have to wait a couple of days till I see your DM, but don't be shy to reach out. The link in my bio will have a lot of options in terms of how we can work together. The link to my agency is in there. There are some products that you could purchase and recordings from old masterclasses. But most importantly, something that I just recently launched is something called the Real Creator Club Community. It's a place where creators, influencers, entrepreneurs, small business owners, all of us come together into this club to just learn from each other, ask questions, have conversations. There are a lot of different spaces there where you can even like throw your reel or your content and get feedback from the community. So when I first started the Real Coach brand, I always had that vision of I want to create a safe space for people to comment on my posts and have those conversations and help each other. I think that people's mindset within the Instagram platform, it's very quick paced. So it's very tough to create that community within there. That's why I really went hard at, pouring the time and efforts into creating this community. And it's very new, but I think that together we can grow and we can learn and we can level up our brand in very big ways.
So the way they get to it is by going to your Instagram profile. Is that right?
Yep. Instagram profile, hit the link in my bio, Stan Store. You'll see my store with all my products over there. And the very first button is to join the Real Creator Club community.
And tell them where to find you on Instagram one more time.
So the handle is The Real Coach, real spelt with 2 E's.
Adin, Hazan, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. We're so much better because of it.
Of course, Michael, thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to other amazing chats in the future.